Hello, I'm Bruce Zimmerman, and this is the Open Line Garden Show podcast for this week. Now we have got our daffodils and our hyacinths planted. I would probably say it's time to start thinking about planting our tulips. Now, there's a million different kinds of tulips, and you know darn well that you're going to pick the ones, the most pretty this year. But there are some, and this is how you have to consider it, is their blooming time and their heights. You certainly don't want to plant a late tulip right where you want to go and put, let's say, your annuals, etc. So that might be an area where you want to go and put the earlier ones, shorter ones, depending on the type of annuals you plant in front. So in my case, when I walk up to the front door, I want people to see some of these bulbs that are small, and I like the smaller, shorter, and probably one of my favorite groups is the Kaufmanniana. Now, Kaufmanniana are usually fairly short. They're usually early, though not always, and they have a good wide range of color. Again, you're going to be planting them in odd numbers, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. Now, the farther you're going to view these away, or the larger the area that they're going to be in, the larger the group. So 3 can be just as effective as 11, depending on those parameters. So remember, don't mix them. Always one kind in a cluster. You can contrast clusters. You can plant in cluster next to another cluster next to another cluster and have them bloom in succession at different times. And at the same time, maybe even at different heights. So as your annuals start to grow, you will find that the last ones to bloom are the tallest and will actually still show up, where the earliest would be the shortest. And this works really, really well when well planned. Now, there are a number of them that are well known, and to be honest with you, they are great. And that is Heart's Delight. I like Heart's Delight simply because it is a strong, bold pink and white. The pink is more of a rosy red, but being a guy, I'm not going to say it's red. It looks more pink to me. But it is still one of my favorites. If you want bold colors, then the Stressa. Now, Stressa has been around a long time, and it goes very well with crocus and some of the flower record type daffodils. So, Stressa is going to give you basically a red and yellow vertical stripes. And the nice thing is, again, nice and short. I think these are the two most popular. Now, there are others. There's Early Harvest. There's Gaiety. They're both excellent. I do like Ice Stick. And the Ice Stick is a little narrower, still in the pink and the white, but a little smaller, not quite as bold or in your face. So it's up to you which ones you like. So pick those that you really do have a good time with. And besides, Gaiety is really quite nice if you'd like rosy red and cream. And I kind of like them. So there is a lot of them. The first is also another excellent, nice variety. It's an early bloomer. It's carmine red with brilliant white petal edges, and the interior, which is an ivory white with the yellow center. So, and again, another really, really nice one. But there is also another group which is known as the species. Now, species tulips are supposedly just as they are in the wild. And sometimes I have a little bit of a problem with that description because I think some of them are named varieties that have been slightly improved but look like their parents. So, you can run through these. There's quite a few of them. And I will say this. These are the tulips that I find squirrels don't like in my garden. No, I don't know why, but they don't. They just leave them alone, and that's kind of nice. The ones that you're going to be looking for, and you're going to have to get there first in order to get them, are these. They're small bulbs. They're not planted anywhere as deep. They're great in rock gardens. They can be naturalized into drifts. They're planted 4 to 5 inches deep and about 6 inches apart. And they will multiply. They will spread. The Clusiana varieties actually have a rhizome. A rhizome. And will spread along each of these rhizomes that the bulbs eventually develop. It's a little different than you think about tulips, but it is what they do in my garden. Now, Lilac Wonder is another. It is probably one of the most popular ones. In fact, it's so popular every time I go to buy some, they're usually gone. But by Flora, which is the nice little yellow and white ones, these are the ones that do the most success in my garden. The other one that does really, really well is the other ones in the purples. They seem to be left alone. One of the ones that are really cool, a little weird, and I like them, but limited quantity, okay, is a Cuminata. Now, a Cuminata almost looks like a lily-shaped tulip, but its petals are so long and thin that they actually remind me of long, thin, pointed fingers. And they're never straight. They always sort of curve this way, that way, and they're predominantly red with a yellow base. They're okay. They're great in the naturalized area, but are they going to give you a big show right in your face? No. Chrysantha is another one. It is considered one of the elite. It's a golden yellow with a red. It is one award winner. It is absolutely gorgeous, and it's early. And it's going to be about 10 inches tall. There are a number of them, and I'm sort of picking and choosing here the ones that you may or may not like. The other ones that do very well is Eastern Star. If you can find some, they will do well, particularly in rock gardens. Linifolia is another one with the long, thin leaves. And Humulus. Now, Humulus is a group, and there are a number of different shapes and colors in this group, but they predominate in the purple and reds. So you may want to try and get your hands on these ones. There's Eastern Star, Magenta Queen, Persian Pearl, Violaceae, which is probably one of the nicest ones in my opinion. And Violaceae is early, and it's in April, and it's 4 to 6 inches tall. Okay, at least in my garden. So there are a number of them, and I want you to go and take a look at it. Little Beauty is another one. Little Princess. Now, Little Princess is sort of scented. Now, I'm not very great with scents. So, good scents I have, but not great at smelling scents, unless it's really quite powerful. So, you may have to get up close to this one to really enjoy it. And so is, of course, Little Princess. So these ones might be considered in a rock garden, particularly where you're going to be greeting your visitors as well. Remember, tulips do like the sun, and they should be planted as such. There are a number of others that you need to also take a look at in the species. And Sextilis is another one that does very well in my garden. Silvestri, it was good, but for some reason or other has not sort of sustained itself over the years. One of my favorites, though, is Preston's Fusilier because it's a bouquet red tulip. I like it. It is gorgeous. Turkestanica is another one that's good. If you can lay your hands on Tangerine Beauty, which I have to admit is not that easy to do. It's going to be a little later. It's a mid-May, and it's about 8 inches tall. All of these are still considered species. If you're going to go and do more of the little short guys, then you want Gregeyes, and the Gregeyes are another fabulous group of tulips. Little Red Riding Hood. It's been around forever. It's carmine red with a black base. Toronto. It's a multi-flowered one again. It's a sort of a tangerine red with a bronze green base. But it's going to be 14 inches tall. But it's a bouquet. How about Quebec? Same thing. It's a sport from Toronto. It's rosy red with broad, creamy yellow petal margins. You know, that's what I like. Portland, Pinocchio, Marianne, Elise. All of these and more are available probably in your area if you're in a fairly cold winter area. If you're starting going farther south, then no, these are not the bulbs for you. You'll just have too hard a time growing them. So please take a look at the Gregeyes, the species, and the Kaufmanniana, and you will have some great, great tulips that bloom and small, delicate, not in your face. And because they're smaller, I find the squirrels don't nip the flowers off to drink the sweet sap from the stems. So maybe you should try that. Just a little throw in here, if you like one that I find just absolutely gorgeous, is Princess Irene, and it is supposedly fragrant. It's orange. It's got a darker stripe down the middle of the petals, and I do like them. I do like the short early doubles as well, and because I think the doubles sort of give you that bolder look, a thicker look in the petals and in the flower size, that if you really want to, you could actually do a good job with there. Some of these get to be a lot taller, and therefore you have to be a little more selective on doing that. Kistaroon was always a good one. It's fragrant, but I could never smell it. It's supposedly rare, but I have sold it in the past. Couleur Cardinal is another one. Flare I've sold. Orange Christmas or Christmas Orange I've sold. Beauty Queen, yes. The Marvels, they're all in this collection, and believe it or not, fantastic. So they're early single tulips. Don't forget the others that are double as well. So if you have any idea that you've got some spots in your garden where you want some color in early spring, probably in the April-May period of time when the annuals just aren't quite ready, then these are the tulips for you. I'm Bruce Zimmerman, and this is the Open Line Garden Show podcast for this week.